Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest from one of my most favorite cities at Planta, Georgia. It's a booming little suburb and a major metropolitan region. I am very pleased that Niyi is here to explain us everything about it and share his secrets on how he became successful. So without any further delay, let's open up the floor. Niyi, explain us how did you get started in real estate?
Come on now, Mish. I appreciate you inviting me on here. And I got started about a decade ago, actually, as an investor. I didn't move into this side of real estate until 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was just investing. I invested for, 7 years straight. And the first investment I bought was a house hack in Louisville, Kentucky. I
Oh,
bought
wow.
a
Yeah.
triplex. This was when I was in medical device sales and I was moving around a bit for the company. So I bought a triplex with the FHA loan, 3.5% down, took
Perfect.
everything that I had in saving, which was about $5,000, bought it for 190K, lived in one unit and rented the other two out. And what it unlocked for me was the ability to not only play offense, but play defense. I went from paying
Yeah.
1,200 a month to live in a dope penthouse
Yeah.
type of apartment to now owning a property and having my mortgage covered fully by the other two tenants. So now I'm
Yeah.
saving that money. And
Mm-hmm.
also when I moved out of there and got promoted again, I was able to put a renter in there and start making money. And so long story short, I was able to build up my units over time
Oh,
to about 30 units. And this is all while still
great.
working the W-2. I got promoted again and moved down to the Atlanta area into a
Nice.
role that I did not find as fun as my previous roles. It was one where I was in a
Sure.
director role and I was getting a lot of headaches as opposed to like the fun of going and chasing down
Yeah.
a deal and closing a deal. It was more of like the back end stuff and random
Mm-hmm.
meetings. And
Sure.
and that's when I started to formulate the plan to move into full-time real estate because I had built up my portfolio and because I had a passion for real estate. And so now I'm a
Yeah.
investor-friendly realtor.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's you did it's amazing how the first step is the most important, right? Like a lot of people hesitate in taking that first step. They're like, houses are just too expensive. It's not meant for me. And more than likely, most people end up buying a house after after going through that. And I think I always recommend people who are like in that situation, say, hey, a triplex or a fourplex is just an amazing start. Don't worry about anything else. It's a stepping stone, right? Like we have to get there and then move ahead. Like people buy first house, then they get a luxury house. N- who really buys luxury house as their first one? But if you have not taken that first step, it's not possible to go to the second step.
And I would 100% agree. I think we as humans tend to overcomplicate everything. And I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of simplification, right? If
Yeah.
somebody can explain very simply what they do, I know that that person knows what they're talking about. If using a lot of big language,
Yeah.
that's okay. But I'm going to drill down further to see if you actually know. And so, long story short, for me, I just simplified it like you said. I said, you know what?
Yeah.
This makes sense because I'm going to save on my largest expense, which is
Yeah.
housing. And if this completely messes up, and I have to put money out of pocket, it's still going to be less than I was paying before.
Yeah.
And I have all this time to go back and do the traditional route. And so I recommend
Exactly.
to anybody that's willing to delay gratification, not forever, but just for a little bit. It could be even like 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. If you can buy one house hack per year and keep doing
Mm-hmm.
that, you can build a portfolio that can make you financially free.
Yeah. And at that stage, were you like you had family or like you were alone at that moment?
No, and this is good. If you do not have those obligations, this is the time. Your standard of living is a lot different than what it's going to be later on. And
Yeah.
so at that time I was 24, right? I was in my first big boy job and
Mm-hmm.
and I just gotten moved to Louisville, Kentucky, a city I hadn't, known like that. And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? If I'm going to do this, let me try it right now because if I mess this up, there's all this time to recover. Now,
Sure.
fast forward to the day. I have a 1 year old, as we just mentioned before we started recording,
Yeah.
who's taking a nap right now. That's why I'm in the car office. Um,
Yeah.
and
Congratulations.
thank you. I appreciate it, Mish.
Did the birthday pass or it's coming up?
It's coming up. It's actually this
Oh, sweet.
weekend, so we're
The
getting
most
it all
important
planned out.
day.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. But when it comes to the house hack piece, it's not only for those that are single and things of that nature, because I hear that excuse all the time. I'm still house hacking today. We just do it in a different manner, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I bought a duplex that's off of the Beltline, so it's an awesome area, right? The Beltline, for those that don't know, is this walk, jog, run path that has breweries and eateries and food halls and all the
Yeah.
stuff that you want to do around Atlanta. It's 26 miles long and it's very hard to get on there. But I bought a duplex 2 years ago on there, and the back unit is a 5 bed, 4.5 bath. It's huge.
Wow.
It's basically its own house, that we rent out on short-term rental as a luxury short-term rental that brings in 5 figures a month and
Yeah.
covers the majority of the mortgage, right? We live in the
Yeah.
front, right, which is not as big as the back, but it's still bigger than what you would think. And we
Yeah.
kind of go from there. And so,
Yeah.
long story short, the house hack can look different over time, but it's still saving you money and allowing you to live out your dreams.
Yeah. It's like a palace with a hotel attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, at least financially, that's the way it will feel, right? Like there is
Oh yeah.
a very high income coming from the property, and then you get your own personal space of your own.
That's it. That's it.
Right. So like you have made some very, very good important decisions. Like how did you get like I think I need to take a step back further from like how did you even take these good decisions? Like how like you had a mentor, you had like other people surrounding you who were doing the right things?
Man, I wish. So coming out of college, I didn't know about any of this stuff, right? I just wanted to get out there and get after it. I wanted to be financially free because my upbringing was with a single mom who raised
Mm-hmm.
3 boys by herself. We had to go through bankruptcy to where
Mm-hmm.
there was times where we couldn't even sign our own name to a lease and we were just
Yeah.
moving around and things of that nature. Hence the reason I've lived in a couple cities
Mm-hmm.
even before moving for work. And so I wanted to be financially free, whatever that means. I didn't know how to do it, but when I got this job to be in medical device sales, right? And I started off as like an intern and worked my way up.
Mm-hmm.
When I was an intern, I started to meet with some of the finance guys that were around me because I wanted to understand first the stock market. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, we just went through a 401k presentation. I don't have one. What the heck am I doing with this? What should I do?
Yeah.
And they tried to explain it to me. I read some books and it was still super complicated for me.
Yeah.
Right? I told you about the simplification thing.
Sure.
I just simplified, put it into target date, and then put it into S&P 500 and called it a day. But you
Yeah.
can't control that as much as you can with real estate. During the
Yeah.
same time period, I also was Googling real estate. Like, hey, how do I do this? And I
Yeah.
stumbled across the Bigger Pockets podcast in
Mm-hmm.
2015. And after listening to, I don't know, like 60 or 70 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
I came across this house hack thing. And that was the first piece of all this stuff that made the most
Yeah.
sense. That's where I
Yeah.
was like, hold up, like this is highly doable. I could put down how much? And okay, it's going to lower my cost of living. That makes sense to have somebody else paying. I mean, you come from college where you're doing the roommate thing and you're paying the minimal amount. Like this is basically doing that on a higher level. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got started.
Sure. And like this was like 10 years ago, and was it still Brandon Turner, or was there a
Yes,
different host that
man. That so Brandon Turner probably lives rent free in my head, at least his voice and his
time? Yeah.
mentorship through the podcast.
No wonder
Uh,
he's so rich.
yeah, yeah, exactly. He can sell whatever he wants. But so 2015, I want to say that was within 12 months of when they actually started the podcast. So there
Yeah.
literally was only like 60 episodes there. And I listened to all of them
Yeah.
and then kept going from there. So it was Brandon Turner, Josh Dorkin, and I've seen all the transitions.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward, I don't know when this is going to air, but I'm actually going to be on the Bigger Pockets podcast, which is kind of a full circle
Awesome.
moment
Nice.
later this month. It's going to air, which is kind of cool.
Awesome. That is amazing. So yeah, like I think it's Dan Green right now, right? Like who's the host?
It was David Green, and then they
Yeah.
switched it, so now it's Dave Meyer and Henry Washington.
Sweet. Perfect. And I'm looking forward to that episode. I will definitely join. I'll try and see it as soon as it's available.
Come on now,
Yeah.
I will send it your
So
way.
So tell us more about what you're doing right now. Like, what does the day look like? Is it how are you balancing family with just so much work and so much explosive growth happening in the region?
Man, so one of the reasons that I chose Atlanta in general, right, is I got promoted from my last role. My
Mm-hmm.
last role, I was in medical device sales up in
Mm-hmm.
Boston, in the New England area, closing deals,
Hmm.
and I kept pouring money into investments. I was not a
Sure.
licensed realtor. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
even my purview. but then I got promoted and I had the option to move anywhere in the Southeast. And so
Mm-hmm.
I took a road trip because this was during 2020 when I was looking,
Yeah.
and I came down and went to Atlanta. I went to the Carolinas and I went to
Mhm.
Florida to like Tampa and a couple other cities just to see like, hey, where would it make sense? Because I wanted to plant the family roots somewhere where we could
Sure.
continue investing in our backyard, right?
Yeah.
Know a city, like it, trust it, and continue building. And so we
Yeah.
chose Atlanta. Awesome choice. Love this
Mm-hmm.
area. It's amazing. And I also, during that time period, decided to get my license. So I got my
Hmm.
license and started doing that on the side alongside the
Sure.
new role. And what I
Okay.
quickly found out is that that director role was nothing like what I was doing before.
Sure.
It just like you were making more, you were making about 250 a year when you factored in bonuses and stuff, which is awesome. But the
Yeah.
time that it was taking and the energy, every Sunday I'd wake up and be like, man, like I got to go back to work tomorrow. And it was
Yeah.
just heavy, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when you're able to look back and say, hey, you've been investing for X number of years. Let's look at the portfolio. How much am I bringing in? What are some of the tax benefits I can tap into? What are some other
Mm-hmm.
strategies I can use to make sure that our family's going to be taken care of
Mm-hmm.
while moving in and taking a stab at jumping into full-time entrepreneurship, which is what I did in
Sure.
2022.
Yeah.
And long story short, the economics made sense. So
You're right.
what I'm doing now is I'm an investor-friendly realtor, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. We work 90% with investors. In the
Yeah.
Metro of Atlanta is where we started. I also have an agent in Florida as well as one in Texas. And we have 10 members of our team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Five of those members were actually clients that I personally helped buy one, two, three properties before they got their license and came and joined the team. So
Yeah.
that's one leg. The other
Nice.
adjacency that we have is I got into short-term rentals a few years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
currently own eight. And then we
Mm-hmm.
built out a management company where we manage 25 of these now, from a
Mm-hmm.
one bedroom all the way up to a 10,000 square foot luxury mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the other leg. That was another piece that made it a little bit easier was having the income come from the property management. And then the
Mm-hmm.
final leg is some of the partnerships that we've been able to develop with like title companies and things of that nature. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that is amazing. So it does like most of the times the businesses it just once it starts rolling, it's always difficult to get in, but once it starts rolling, there is other aspects that loop in and like add and build up on top of it. So that's always very good.
Absolutely. And it's been amazing. And it's funny, like you start all the stuff that you would hear from if anybody has a corporate background that's listening, that you'd hear from corporate, you can use this in your own business. The one
Hmm.
thing I would say is like I see some people that want to jump full-fledged. I don't think you should do that. I
Yeah,
didn't do that. I built this up alongside working the corporate until it got so busy that I
sure.
had to make a choice, right? You don't want to just jump full-fledged because what if you don't like
Yeah,
that thing?
it takes everything takes time to grow, right? Like yeah, do it professionally, do it with full commitment, with intention, but don't just dive into it.
That's it. That's it. Dip one toe until you know you're fully ready to kind of take
Yeah,
that plane off and go from there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's just amazing how you're able to mentor other people and make them successful as well. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, and that's a piece that, to your point, once you get going, it just rolls. I never
Yeah,
thought that we were going to have a team. I was just like, okay, if I can close two deals a month, right? Combine that with the real estate that I already own and the tax benefits of
yeah,
being able to write off a lot more, this
hmm,
makes sense to move into this full time. And I got my time freedom back.
yeah,
And then, one person reached out and said, hey, do you mind if I come and help you with some stuff? I said, sure. And
hmm,
next thing you know,
sure,
we've got this whole framework. And now I'm enjoying it even more because
yeah.
I'm able to help other people be successful in this business too.
Yeah, it's always I have like a maturity model. Like I kind of started with that, saying most people think it's too expensive to buy a home, and then they end up buying a home. Most people think it's not, makes no sense to own a $3 million home, and then they own a $3 million home. Then they're like, how in the world this cash this nothing cash flows? Like how in the world do we get an investment property? And then they own one investment property, then they own five, then they own commercial properties. Then they're like, okay, this is too much work. How do we get somebody else to do this? And they invest in syndications and funds. And at that stage, most people are like, I don't even know what to do with the money. Let me find a good purpose. And that's like the holy mantra. Like that's where I think the the end goal is. Like if you're able to like be happy, that's I think real estate is the only thing that I've seen that gets you there. Most other investments just makes you more greedy, I think.
Oh yeah. And the
Yeah.
thing about real estate is, to your point, it can evolve with you over time. Like
Yeah.
back when I was 24 and getting started, I mean, I was buying duplex, triplex, quadplex in Louisville, Kentucky, in old Louisville, for anybody that's familiar there. And
Yeah.
those houses, per the name, were all built in the 1900s. So these were weird houses. That's why you can
Yeah.
get a triplex for 190 back then, right?
Yeah.
To where pipes are freezing in the winter, you're trying to figure that out. There's like weird
Yeah.
crawl space stuff going on. There's no central heat and air, so you got to figure out how you're doing that. It was a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I would not buy that. I'm
Yeah.
buying more turnkey, and I've actually started to trade in some of those greenhouses. I sold a lot of that portfolio off a few
Yeah.
years ago to
Yeah.
move into more bigger projects. For example, we built
Mhm.
self-storage from the ground up out there,
Great. Yeah.
and finished that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. Like it's incredible to be able to run a whole property with 225 units with one VA
Yeah.
and one maintenance guy. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, this is incredible. So I don't know that I would
And
have thought that big when I started out,
yeah.
but now that I've gotten the experience of early, you can move into other forms.
Yeah. The evictions and everything is not as complicated. There's nothing living there, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, nobody's yeah. As far as I
Yeah,
know,
you
nobody's living there.
never know what the bird people are storing in there, but hopefully nothing alive.
Yeah, yep, yep, exactly.
Cool. So tell us more about where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Like what is your goal?
Man, so I see us continuing to expand the
Mm-hmm.
investor-friendly Acabo home team. I
Mm-hmm.
want us to be, especially in 5 years, in at least the top 15 metros, right, around the
Mm-hmm.
country, and be just the go-to for people who are looking to invest in real estate. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of realtors out there that say, hey, yeah, I work with investors, but that's
Mm-hmm.
different than working with a
Yeah.
realtor that invests themselves, right?
Yeah.
Similar to like when I pick CPAs or when I pick, insurance professionals, I want
Yeah.
to pick people, or even lenders. I want to pick people that are
Mm-hmm.
also investing themselves, because
Yeah.
if they are
It's a
investing
huge
themselves,
difference. Yeah,
it's
it's a
huge.
huge
Yeah.
difference.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like as a lender, like many times I have people coming to me and saying, "Hey, let's get this thing done," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll make a commission, but I don't think this is the right thing for you. Let's not do this." And then they come back with me and saying, "Hey, let's do like seven more things because that makes more sense."
That's the piece. That's literally the piece. And
Yeah,
the other example I'll give is like if you're working with an investor friendly CPA, right? And they own short-term rentals, they're not just reading the law on bonus depreciation, cost segregation. Like they're actively using it. They're gonna
yeah,
try to get this right so that they can save money. And guess what? If they're doing it for themselves, they can do it for you. It's almost
yeah,
like if you want to learn how to, go golf, you should probably go work with a golfer, somebody who like
yeah,
actually does this on a day-to-day
exactly.
basis and go from there.
Yeah, and it's the other aspect of it is always like every profession has its own hazard. Like I always have like like every profession is very unique, right? Like a teacher always wants to teach, even if it doesn't, even if the recipient is not listening many times. With every profession is the same. As a lender, I'm always trying to get the best interest rate, but many times we forget to ask the question saying, is it even worth doing it? And how do you, what the common thing that I have observed is every profession many times has a conflict, right? A lawyer will ask me to do something and the CPA will be like exact opposite. Like he'll be like, this is going to be horrible on your taxes. And the lawyer is like, this is going to save you from the liability. And they don't quite agree. Like how as a business owner, how are you handling that with when you hire like the best person from every segment?
Man, so it all depends on your why and what you're looking to accomplish right now. So for example, to answer that, right? If you're talking to your legal team, they're going to say, "Hey, you should have a LLC for every single property. That way you're
Yeah.
the most protected across the board, right?"
Yeah.
And then you talk to your CPA, if you do that, there's going to be an extra charge for every single filing. It's like, dude, why am I spending all this money? And
Yeah.
so there's a happy medium in between of
Right.
protection versus also not spending and throwing away dollars on that piece. So the way that
Yeah.
I've determined that specific piece, and there's a million that
Sure.
you do, is okay, I'm going to create a new LLC anytime I get over $500,000 in
Mm-hmm.
equity, right? In
Sure.
equity in that
Mm-hmm.
unit. So if I have three properties in there and I've put down the minimal of 10% for vacation
Mm-hmm.
homes, I only got like, 300K in there or whatever,
Yeah.
just let that thing rock. If I want to add
Sure.
another one, feel free. Once the equity, and I check that once a quarter, once the equity reaches a point where I have at least 500,000 in there, I'll open
Mm-hmm.
up another LLC because it's now worth
Sure.
it. And then I also do a different LLC for each state that I invest in, at minimum of one for each state.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, as a lender, we enforce certain things and things don't make sense. Like There should be an LLC that's registered in the state where you have the property. Most people are like, why? Title companies are sometimes okay with not having the LLC in that same state, but lenders enforce it. Um, there's always good reasons for everything, right? If you don't have a LLC in that state where the property exists, somebody else could create an LLC and sell your property without you even knowing it, which is like the worst thing to ever happen. So always ask questions whenever there is like a weird little thing that any professional is asking you to do. Always ask the question saying why, and if they are able to answer it, that means they understand why they are asking, why they are doing what they are doing.
100%. And simple is better. I'm the type where if I'm
Yeah,
trying to learn something, I don't mind asking multiple times, and I don't really care about the opinion. I really truly want to understand so I
yeah.
can simplify it for myself and for others.
Cool. So as we come closer to the end of this episode, I always like to open up the floor and ask like, what are some of the other recommendations you have for other agents and your investor clients?
Man, so first and foremost, Amish, I appreciate you having me on. If I have to give recommendations, I'm going to start first with the clients and then I'll go to other realtors, right? When it
Sure.
comes to clients, if you're going to go down this investing path, if it's only going to be one property, maybe you can get away using anybody. But if you plan to build out a portfolio, you should be working with investor-friendly everything
Sure.
from the
Yeah.
realtor to the CPA to the lender
Mm-hmm.
to, all the above. Why?
Sure.
It's going to help you throughout the whole lifetime of those properties. One of the biggest benefits we give our clients is that they have our whole Rolodex, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a client the other day hit me up and say, "Hey, we lost our cleaner because they had a couple mistakes, things of that nature for the short-term rental. Do you have anybody?" And I
Yeah.
handed them the cleaner that we use for our biggest properties. Like, "Hey,
Sure.
this is exactly who we use." Same thing
Yeah.
with plumbers, electricians, and that's constantly being updated as we go through this. And
Yeah.
so, highly recommend getting investor-friendly everything. And then for the other agents that are looking to get into this business,
Mm-hmm.
you need to niche down, right?
Sure.
We've niched down as being the investor-friendly realtors. If that's
Mm-hmm.
your thing, do that. If you want to do a more neighborhood focus, do that. But you can't be a generalist in 2026. The
Yeah.
generalists are getting eaten alive. Not many
Yeah.
realtors are selling anything, so you need to be known for something. You don't want somebody to think, I need a realtor and then think of you alongside 15 other people. When people think, hey, I need an investor
Yeah.
friendly realtor in Atlanta, I want them thinking about me. I want them thinking
Yeah.
about the Cabo home team and going from there. And then the other piece is if you're going to join a brokerage, you should join one that's also going to invest in you, right? So I
Sure.
personally looked at a bunch of different brokerages, all the top ones, and I chose to join EXP
Mm-hmm.
because they give you the opportunity to earn both passively and actively. Actively by going and closing deals, which you can earn through any
Yeah.
brokerage. Passively by if you sponsor somebody else or bring more agents on and you
Mm-hmm.
mentor them, they
Yeah.
pay you for that, which is kind of cool.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, so it helps and it's amazing. I was with EXP before and it's a great place to be. Because,
Nice.
yeah, I
Are you
just
still licensed?
I'm still licensed, but I mainly focus on lending. So I had to like move my DRE license to the lending portion of the other company, mainly for lending reasons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
So yeah, so I really appreciate you joining and like sharing everything that you are doing. I'm looking forward to your episode next week, right? And
In a couple weeks. It'll
a
be here in
couple
a
of
couple weeks. Yep.
sweet, yeah, that's very exciting. So like looking forward to that, and thanks for sharing your insight into everything that's happening right now.
Thank you, Amish.
Thanks.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.